My name is Cees Nieboeer. I'm a Dutch national living in Slovenia for the last 7 years. I'm basically working in the management consultancy and representing a couple of companies. One is Learning Paths from the US. The other one is Lumina Learning, which is a psychometric provider from the UK. And Explorgate from Israel and the US, who has developed a collaboration platform for knowledge. In my view, what is important if you look at the development of organizations and the performance improvement that companies are looking for, it's important to look at the valuing diversity. Everybody is different and everybody needs different approach. That counts for our employees, but also for the business partners that we're working with, especially when you consider that we're more going to a global economy and we're dealing with different nationalities, different cultures. They all require their different ways of addressing them, and they have different preferences. Now, if we try to understand that and we also know where we are coming from ourselves, we can then develop a strategy that is optimizing our end results. In a lot of countries, and that counts for Slovenia as well, management is struggling with the good handling of delegation and to make people perform up to the standards that they would like them to do. It's also giving the trust to employees so that they are empowered to do things in accordance to the set of rules that an entrepreneur is providing them, that their manager is guiding them with, to make them empowered and to make them more proactive in the ways that they can do things. Accountability is very important, and people need to understand what accountability means. Accountability in organizations means that I'm assigned a specific task and I have the responsibility and the freedom to act within the borders that the organization is providing me, and also the obligation to fulfill my end of the bargain. When people feel that they are empowered to do things, there are a couple of benefits there. People feel more engaged and responsible for the end result and feel that what they do makes a difference to the end result. That also lowers the necessity for management and supervisors to interfere or to give additional guidance, to look over their shoulder and to avoid giving employees the idea that they're being overly controlled. Everybody wants to know that what they do makes a difference to the end result, and that what they do has a positive impact on the whole process which they're part of. For organizations to produce up to really high standards and to match and to exceed even the expectations of the local market, it's important that we make the best use of the qualities that our raw material offers. And we have people that work with us and for us, and it's important to put emphasis on the fact that we're not only catching them when they do things wrong, but we're looking for the talents and maybe the underutilized talents that they have and that they can offer within a project or within the tasks that they're performing on a daily basis. What is really not being addressed enough is that we don't give compliments enough. In a lot of organizations we catch people when they do things wrong immediately, but we take them for granted when they perform up to the standards that we provide them with. Sometimes, and I think everybody of us agrees as well, that a tap on the shoulder and a well done mentioning is worth more than an increment of salary and gives us better results and a better return on investment. When recruiting people, often mistakes are being made because we select people based on their qualities and their background and their education, looking at skills and knowledge. what we end up is a short list of a couple of people that meet these requirements, and then we select from the list of 5 people, for instance, which one will be best. In a lot of cases, however, the one that is chosen for the job is the one that gets on very well with the recruiter, and that is in a lot of cases is also linked to the personality type of both parties. So when you get along with somebody very easily, it generally means that you have more or less the same personality, which also means that if you would recruit somebody based on that facts, you take on board the same qualities and the same weaknesses that the recruiter already has, and it's not the best way to make your team stronger. Sometimes it's better to look at the setup of your team and say, okay, what kind of personality traits do we lack in our team? Based on that one, you can strengthen your team on a continuous basis, although in some cases it might make it difficult for individuals to interact, but it gives added value. Development of people is an important part. We hire people, but they're not up to the standards that is required for a job. Of course, you need to get acquainted with the corporate culture, with the specific tasks that are outlined, and development up to the standards, meaning reaching the level of proficiency, can take a couple of years if the job is more complex. Now, training over the last decades had quite a negative feedback from the market. We send people on training, we expect them to come back and perform miracles, and that didn't happen. So what is happening there? I think it's a responsibility of both the organization and the one that's been on training to make sure that there is a conversion between the stuff and the materials that you've been taught at the training course and the performance and the activities that you really do on a daily basis, which means it needs repetitive enforcement of change in behavior. That can take elements into consideration like coaching, like peer review, like observing how colleagues work. There's a lot of things that are more or less informal, which we can then turn into a process. Training is not an event, it's a process. To get people up to the standards is a hard, labor-intensive process, but you need to formalize it. A lot of organizations do not formalize it in a way that you consider best practice, or that you take out the things that are not really needed. We try to, when we implement a learning process for an organization, the 2 main things that we do is we reduce variability, meaning that if you have different teams that do similar tasks, the development process within that position is done in a similar way. And you reduce or you eliminate waste. Don't teach people today what they're not going to use in the very near future, because by the time they get to that task, they might have forgotten and you need to retrain, or worse, if you don't do that, things can happen. If it, for instance, impacting safety and health, it can have a serious influence on it. The other thing is that you need to sometimes look at the development process and say, well, let's rearrange it in a just-in-time manner. So you chop it into smaller pieces, you mix it with things that are linked to the daily operation, and also put some practice in between. So theory, practice, assessments, coaching becomes a hand-in-hand process.